Hey, hi friends. Hope you are all doing well. Welcome back to our CISA video series. This is 8th part of our CISA video sessions. Today we will discuss on for loop. So let's get started. What is loop first? So loop is a control structure that repeatedly executes a block of code as long as a specified condition is met. Loops are essential for performing repetitive tasks efficiently. So to perform repetitive tasks or to execute a code repeatedly, we can use loop. There are several types of loops. For loop, while loop, do while loop, for each loop. We will discuss one by one. So today we will discuss on for loop. Use when the number of iteration is known. So what is this iterations first? Iterations is nothing but how many times that block of code is going to be executed. That is known as iterations. So whenever we know about this iteration, like the number of iteration we know, that time we will use for loop. So for loop is a control flow statement that allows us to execute a block of code repeatedly. That allows us to execute a block of code repeatedly based on a condition. It is particularly useful when we know in advance how many times we want to execute a statement or a block of statements. So whenever we actually know in advance like how many times we want to execute a statement. So basic syntax is for is the keyword for loop, then initialization, condition, iterations. Then the for loop code whatever we want to execute like repeatedly. Then we'll start with an example. Let's explain this one, initialization. What is this initialization first? This step is executed once before the loop starts. This step is executed once before the loop starts. So before the loop getting started, this initialization process is starts. It is commonly used to initialize the loop counter. So it is used to initialize. Condition, the loop continues to execute as long as this condition is true. Still this condition is true, the loop actually executes. The condition is checked before each iteration. So every iterations the condition will be checked. And what is this iteration? This step is executed after each iteration of the loop. So like this step is executed after each iteration for the loop. It is commonly used to update the loop counter. So it is basically the counter to increase or decrease the conditions whatever our initial like whatever we have initialized where we will check that condition and we will iterate that much time. So let's start with one example. Example 1, I have written all these examples in our Visual Studio. First example 1, simple for loop. First discussed we will on this one. Sorry, one second. For this is our initialization, this is our condition, and this is our increment or decrement, whatever our as per our syntax iterations. So first I is initialized to 0, meaning I is starting from 0, I will be less than 5 and I will be like incremented 1 by 1. So first it will initialize I is equal to 0, then it will check for the condition if I is less than 5 or not. Yes, if it is I is less than 5, meaning 0 is less than 5, so it will go for the go for the codes whatever we want to execute. So here I'm doing just one line printing console.writeLine I, whatever the I value I want to print here. After that this I plus plus will execute and it will increment I by 1. So 0 plus 0 double plus is equal to 1, and again this condition will be checked and again this will print, and again the same process will be continues still this I is greater than 5 or equal to 5. So let's add a debugger here and we will watch the output, or we will see the flow how the for loop is executes. Okay, first I is equal to 0, then It will check for the condition. If it is true or false, then it will go for the loop. Then it will print I, as I is now 0, so it will print 0. Then it will go for this I plus plus. So whatever the value of I, like 0, it will increment by 1. Now I is 1, and again it will check for the condition. Again 1 is less than 5, it will print 1. Again 2, then 2 is less than 5. Likewise this will executes. So it will continue till I less than 5. So let's see. So 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. So when this I is equal to 5 or I is equal less than greater than 5, then this condition is getting false and it is coming out of this loop, and it will print till 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. That is what our flow is. So let's comment this one, and let's check this example too. Looping through an array. So this is an array, and we will discuss in a later video session maybe this array. But array, for for this example we can understand array is nothing but collection of multiple elements with similar data type. So all are integer and more than one elements are there, so that is called an array. So we will loop through this array. So how we will loop through this array? So we will start this array. This I is equal to 0, and till this I, the condition will be numbers dot length, meaning, so whatever the array's length, it should be checked, like the I should less than that number dot length. Whatever the numbers dot length, numbers is the array name, and the length will be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So now the length will be 5. So I should be less than 5 and I plus plus. So let's run this one. Whatever the output we can check. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. So we can see first it will go for this. Let's add a debugger as well here. So let's check the output. First int I is equal to 0. I numbers dot length 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And I should be less than 5. And then it will print element at index I. So we can say index is starting from the array's index will starting from 0, then 1, 2, 3, 4. So element at index 0, now I is 0, is numbers of I. So whatever the 0 position value, that will print here. Likewise it will go for I plus plus. Now I is 1, and it will again less than 5, it will again print element at index, now I is 1, and numbers of I. So in arrays 1 position, whatever the value, like 2, so it will print 2. Like this for loop is going to be executed. So element at index 0 is 1, element at index 1 is 2, element at index 2 is 3, like this. So element is always start from 0, then 1, then 2, then 3, then 4. And whatever the value present is in index 0, it will print with the index number 1. In place of 1, it will print 2. In index number 3, it will print, sorry, index number 2, it will print 3, like this. This for loop is going to be executed. So how to looping through an array? This is an example of that. Nested for loop. We have already discussed in our if else condition, like nested if else. Now we can discuss nested for loop. So whenever one for loop is present inside another for loop, that we can say that is a nested for loop. So whatever we have discussed in our example, In example 1, the loop starts with I 0 and executes the code block as long as I is less than 5. Till I is less than 5, this code is going to be executed. This code means this line of code. And this is our for loop. After each iteration, I is incremented by 1. So after each iteration, so once it will print the I, and again it will go for this I plus plus, again it will check the condition, and again if the condition is true, it will come for this line, and same process will be continuous till I less than 5 condition is getting false, or whenever I is equal to 5 or greater than 5, this condition is getting false and this will not print. Till I is equal to 4, this for loop is going to be executed. Looping through an array, in this example, the loop iterates through the elements of an array and prints each element along with its index number. So, as I said, index number is nothing but it will start from 0 and it will 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 0, 1, 2, then 3, then 4. So, the index number is 0 to 4 and the array name is numbers. The numbers dot length means it will return 5 till I less than 5. This for loop is going to be executed. The loop iterates through the elements. Okay, then nested for loop. There are two nested for loop. See, this one is one for loop and this one is another for loop. So this first for loop, we can say this is an outer for loop and this is an inner for loop. So the outer loop runs 3 times. As the I is less than or equal to 3, so it will iterate 1, then 2, then 3. From 1 to 3, this for loop is going to the outer for loop is going to be executed. Whenever the I value is getting 4 by incrementing the I plus plus for every iteration, then only this condition will be false and the for loop execution is getting stopped. And for each iteration of the outer loop, the inner loop runs 3 times. So whenever the for each iteration, this for loop, the inner for loop also same condition, j is equal to 1 and j is less than equal to 3, meaning this inner for loop also iterate 3 times, 1, 2, 3. Then this inner for loop is getting false, then it come for this outer for loop. So let's see the execution process here. Let's see. So first I equal to 1 and I less than equal to 3, that is true. So it will come for the inner for loop. J is equal to 1. 1 is less than 3. So that condition also false. So it will execute this console dot write line. So I equal to now 1 and j is equal to now 1. Again, till this inner for loop condition is true, this inner for loop will executes. Then only like when this inner condition false, then only it will come out of this loop and it will increment this for loop. So let's see. J plus plus, now j is equal to 2, that is also less than or equal to 3. So it will again print I equal to 1 and j equal to 2. Again it will come for this j plus plus. Now j is equal to 3. So it will come inside this loop. So now I is equal to 1. If you see, I is still 1. So I is not getting incremented. Only for one I or for one iteration, this loop is getting executed 3 times. After 3 times, then only it go for the outer loop. So see, now it will going for j plus plus. See, j now 3, j is 4. So it is j is now greater than 4. So not less or equal to. So it is false now. So it will come outside the loop and it will go for the outer loop. Now outer loop is 1. Again it will increment it by 1, meaning 2. So I is 2 now and I is less than equal to 3. That condition also false. So it will sorry, that condition is true. I is less than 3, meaning I is now 2. 2 is less than equal to 3. So this condition is true. So it will come for the inner for loop now. So the same process will be j1, j2, j3. It will print for I equal to 2. Same condition will be executed. Now it will come for the outer loop. So if you see, the output is like this. Let's see. For I equal to 1, J1, again I equal to 1, J2, I equal to 1, J3. So for I equal to 1, this J is getting executed 3 times. Again for I equal to 2, this J is getting executed 3 times. For 3, this J is also executed 3 times. Whenever this for loop, this outer for loop false, the condition is false, then both the process will be stopped. So let's comment this one as well. Breakout of for loop. So there is one keyword called break which is used in our for loop. Let's see what is the break is saying here. Exit the loop when I is equal to 5. So what break will do? In this example, the loop terminates early when I equal 5 using the break statement. So whenever the I is equal to 5, this for loop is terminates, means this for loop execution will be stopped. So let's see that done as well by adding a debugger here. So if you see, first I is 0, that is not equal to 5, so it will only print I 0. Okay, next it will increment by 1, again it is less than 10, so not equal to 5. Now I is 1, so it will print 1, 0, 1. Then it is 2, 2 is not equal to 5, so it will print I equal to 2. Again it will go for this in y plus plus, so it will increment this one. Now I is 3, again it will print 3, again it will increment the I as 4, again this condition is true, not equal to 5, again it will print 4. Now I is 5, so if you see, I is 5, I is 5 and I 5 is less than 10, so condition is true, it will come for this if block. If I is equal to 5, then this condition is true, then whenever this condition is true, this if block will be executed as we discussed on our if else video. So see, whenever I equal to 5, exit the loop when I is equal to 5. So if break, it will get the break statement here, it will come out from the loop. Directly it will come out for the loop and it will stop the execution. See, so till 1 0 1 2 3 4 it will print. Whenever it will get I equal to 5, means when I is equal to 5, it will break the loop from there and stop the execution. That is our break keyword in for loop. So let's comment this as well. Another example, that is example 5, continuing the next iteration. So what is this continue? In this for break, in this example terminates early when I equal to 5 using the break statement. So similarly, there is another keyword called continue, where the skip the rest of the loop body when I is even. So let's see how the flow is. Let's add a debugger here and let's check what continue is doing here. So first I is equal to 0, I less than 10, I plus plus. So as the condition is true, it will enter into this, and 0 is divided by 2 and the remainder will be 0. So this condition is true, it will continue. Continue means the next iteration will start. Immediately it will send this debugger or send the control to this increment, and the rest of the line will not get executed. In case of break, it will come out of the loop, but in case of continue, skip the rest of the loop body when I is even. So when this condition is true, the rest of the body, means this part will not get executed, it will go out of the loop and it will continue from the next iteration. So I plus plus means I is now 1. See, Now this time I modulus division by 2 not equal to 0. So it will print 1. Again it will go for increment. It will check. Yeah. Now I is 2. See 2 and 2 is divided by 2. So again this if block will be executed and again this continue statement will be executed. So it will not execute the rest part of the for loop. So it will come to this increment part. So this process will continue till I greater than 10 or I equal to 10. Let's continue this one and see the output. For I equal to 1, 3, 5, 7, 9. For all the odd numbers, it will execute the loop. For all the even number, it will skip the loops. Check here. Skip the rest of the loop body when I is even. So the continue statement skip the current iteration. So the current iteration it will keep. It will skips of the loop when I is even and proceed to the next iteration. So every time whenever this condition is getting true, this continue statement will skip the rest of the loop body and it will go for the next iteration by incrementing this I plus plus. So that is all for our for loop statements today. I hope you found this session helpful and informative. Please check the description below for detailed notes. Thank you for watching and don't forget to like, comment and subscribe for more C# tutorials. See you in the next video. Bye.